There were times I wanted to give up, and I'm sure my husband would say the same. Usually they only lasted for a few minutes, maybe a day, and it was usually because I was having a bad day. This is the Homesteading for Beginners podcast, and I'm Mona Weathers, your homesteading mentor and coach. I'm here to encourage you to pursue your homesteading dreams with the right mindset in a way that is healthy for you, your family, and your community. If you desire to establish a solid foundation for your homesteading journey, then you are in the right place. Join me as I share stories from the past 20 years of my own journey, as well as practical and actionable steps you can take to start and maintain a healthy homestead. Welcome to episode 6 of the Homesteading for Beginners podcast. I hope you enjoyed the 5-part series I did on the Homesteading for Beginners checklist. If this is the first episode you are listening to, welcome, but don't forget to go back and listen to episodes 1 through 5. The title of this episode is 3 Skills to Master First. Can you guess what those skills might be? Is it gardening? Or maybe it's sourdough making? Maybe it's chicken keeping? Well, I'll tell you those 3 things in just a minute. Before I do, I want to make sure you know about the Off-Grid Homestead Bundle that will be launching September 16th and ending September 25th. If you're listening to this after September 25th, I'm sorry you missed it. There's usually a new bundle about every 6 months, and I plan to be a part of it again. It's been an amazing experience. I really don't want you to miss this deal. Part of my job as your mentor and coach is to help you save money, and we covered this in the checklist series. This bundle is a way for you to save a lot of money. You will be able to learn a ton of different homesteading skills by having access to over 140 digital books and courses. Plus, you will also get my new Homesteading for Beginners workbook in the bundle as well. The workbook is a more in-depth guide to getting started. Over 100 different creators collaborated to put this bundle together, so it's amazing. You may even be following some of them on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So be sure to listen to the end of this episode because a few of the creators have recorded a little bit about the products they have in this bundle. And I thought it might be a nice touch for you to hear from the creators themselves. The topic I'm discussing today is about skill building. And homesteading is really about skill building. It's about building skills that allow us to be more self-sufficient and sustainable. It's about having a set of skills to help ourselves, our families, and our communities. And it has a lot less to do with land size and more to do with how much we choose to produce instead of consume, being more of having a producing mindset instead of a consuming mindset. But before we get into learning about skills we do with our hands, let's discuss the skills that will stand the test of time. These skills have to do with our mindset. Over the 20 years of homesteading, I've realized that there are a few common traits or skills that have created the longevity in our journey. There were times I wanted to give up, and I'm sure my husband would say the same. Usually they only lasted for a few minutes, maybe a day, and it was usually because I was having a bad day. And I would ask myself questions like, do we really need to keep dairy goats? Or maybe we have too many chickens. Rarely do I ever fully give up on something I've started. I wasn't always this way, but over the years, I have learned to not start something I think I might give up on. So in doing this, I've created a way of processing difficulties. So these 3 skills, I believe, need to be mastered first. And I don't mean first as in you can't be learning other skills at the same time. I mean, these skills you want to learn to master as soon as possible through your experiences and through your learning. Here goes. Instead of having the option to give up, have these skills in your back pocket. The skill of pressing on, the skill of pivoting, and the skill of positivity. Let's start with the skill of pressing on. So when faced with a situation that makes you want to give up, take some time to process what is happening and why you want to give up. Talk to yourself about it. Get to the root reason of your doubting. Talk with an encouraging friend, or give yourself time to feel the emotions and treat yourself like a friend. Don't say things like, you can't do this to yourself. Instead, ask questions like, how can I do this? How can I make this happen? The skill of pressing on will get you through a lot of difficulties. If you've been planning your journey as we have discussed in the checklist, then you've given this lifestyle some thought, some good thought. So don't doubt yourself, just press on. Next is the skill of pivoting. Sometimes we need to take different routes. Sometimes while on your journey, you will encounter some big obstacles that you just need to go around. A big obstacle doesn't mean you should quit. It could just mean you need to become creative and sharpen your ingenuity skills. Pivoting could look like getting a smaller piece of land than you hoped for, or maybe staying where you are right now so you can save money for your homestead that you dream of. My husband and I have had to do a lot of pivoting over the years. Some pivots were small, some were small pivots, and some were big ones. Sometimes they can be like a whole 180, but as long as it's leading to your end goal, it's not giving up. The third skill is the skill of positivity. This may seem silly to some, but when we choose to be positive, it allows our minds to be open to more possibilities. Even looking at difficulty as a positive thing can be so beneficial to our character and our way of living. Positive people choose this skill. It's something that has to be developed like any other skill. It's like a muscle that has to be exercised. So let me give you an example. Our homestead here in Georgia is beautiful, but it's not exactly the property we dreamed of when we moved here. It's beautiful, and I'm so thankful. But we envisioned having acres of land for our horses and maybe future goats and cows to graze on. So if you haven't been to Georgia, Georgia has massive amounts of pasture land, so we figured we could easily find that dream property. Well, after looking for a few months, we couldn't find anything with a livable house, flat grazing land that was near enough to my husband's work that we could afford. We kept looking further and further out until we found the furthest place we felt he should drive to work, which is about an hour. We had almost given up searching, and when we saw the house and land on this property, our first impression wasn't great. But when we finally had the realtor show us the house, it was clear this property was for us. It's still not the ideal property for our horses because of lack of pasture, and lack of pasture means more money out of your pocketbook because you have to buy hay instead of pasture land. There were hills and woods, but it's a wonderful piece of land, and the house has a lot of potential for improvement. Like, for instance, we could clear the woods and create more pasture land in time. So I love naming my homesteads. I've only had 2. This is my second homestead, but our last homestead was named Fairweathers Ranch. It has to do with our last name and the area that we were in. So when we were deciding the name for our new homestead, I really took it seriously. So there's a steepish hill on our property. The house is at the top and the horses are at the bottom. And I knew I wanted the name to have something with the word hill in it because I have to walk up that hill every day, several times a day. One day I walked up the hill and choosing to have a positive mindset about it. And I was just so thankful at that moment for what God had given us. I named the homestead Thankful Hill Farm. We chose to be positive. I know having a homestead with land is a privilege, but it doesn't mean we're always okay with the plans that don't go our way, right? Even if it's a blessing. But we choose to be okay with it and to be positive. That's what I mean by the skill of positivity. Some pivots and some situations take a lot of effort on our part to be positive, but I believe that you can find the positive things in the situations that you're in. I've had to do this over the years a number of times, and sometimes they're very, like moving from California to Georgia was a big pivot for us. That was a big pivot, and that was a way that we had to work our skill of being positive the whole time. I truly believe that if you master these 3 skills, then no matter what homesteading skill you choose to learn, you will learn them. No matter what journey you choose to embark on, you will reach your goals. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. You can message me on Instagram. I'll have a link in the show notes, or you can email me at mona@healthyhomesteading.com. I just would love to hear your thoughts. Speaking of homesteading skills, let's hear now from some of the contributors to the Homestead Bundle about how their products can help you.
Hey, this is Julie at Misty Creek Acres, and I wrote a chicken ebook. It's called From Egg to Chicken, and literally that's what we go through. We go through deciding what breed of chicken you want if you're wanting to have a lot of eggs, or what breed of chicken you may want if you're wanting to raise meat chickens. We talk about the eggs and how to care for them. We talk about your chicken coop, how to protect your hens from predators, what to feed your chickens. We go over everything, literally from egg to chicken. And I even have at the end of the ebook charts so that you can look at to decide which breeds are best for you. And I even have recipes for treats, recipes for your feed if you're wanting to do it yourself. I would love for you to follow along with me on Instagram at JulieALong00 or find me at mistycreekacres.com.
Hi, I'm Jody from Accidental Country Folk. I can't wait to chat with you after you read Confessions of a Recovering Suburbanite. This short book will serve as your soft launch into homesteading and perhaps make you feel better about your journey into a more natural lifestyle. Be sure to read until the very end because I do include a gift. Find me telling more stories over at Accidental Country Folk. And be sure to mention how you heard about me so I can brag about your Instagram friend or your podcast friends. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Missy Stone, and you can find me on Instagram at Mom About Charleston. I have an ebook in the upcoming bundle called Where to Begin When You Want to Homeschool. I have combined all my knowledge and things I've learned from these last 8 years of homeschooling my 2 children and put them in an ebook to help other parents who are thinking about doing this with their children at home. I have written about the misconceptions of homeschool, what homeschool really should look like. I even have information on how to homeschool if you are living in an RV full time, because my family did this for a year. So I hope that you find it really helpful. I hope that it helps you and encourages you on this homeschool journey.
Hey, this is Sarah on the farm. Have you ever wanted to start seeds for your garden without using indoor space or grow lights? Then my e-guide, Winter Sowing Seed Starting, can help. It will walk you through how to start seeds completely outside without using any indoor space, no grow lights, no hardening off of carrying plants in and out once they're ready to go in the garden. I think winter sowing is one of the simplest seed starting methods, and it is by far my favorite. I start almost all my plants using winter sowing methods now, including my vegetables, herbs, fruits, annual fruits like tomatoes, and flowers. So, if you would like to get started with seed starting outdoors, check out the e-guide Winter Sowing Seed Starting.
The bundle is absurdly cheap. It's valued at over $6,000, but it's only $50. You'll have access to all of the digital products between September 16th and 25th. And you can download all of the things that you want. You can download everything if you want and get all the course codes and links. They'll be inside the bundle. And they are yours to keep forever. Get on the wait list now so you don't miss out. The link will be in the show notes. Okay, friend, that's all for today, and I will be back next week with another episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, I would really appreciate it if you would take a minute to subscribe or follow. By doing this, you will be helping the podcast to be seen by more people, and I do love reading nice reviews too. Don't forget to visit healthyhomesteading.com for more information on how I can serve you. Until next week, I want you to keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep planning for your homesteading success.